Zura stood inside the cold metal chamber, her hands bound behind her back. Her silver armor had been taken, and her long dark braid had been cut short in front of the council. The room smelled like dust and old secrets. Around her, the high leaders of the Zithari Dominion looked down without emotion. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were full of judgment. She had been a commander, respected and feared in battle, but now they called her a traitor. They said she disobeyed direct orders during the assault on the Droven outpost. She tried to explain, tried to tell them the orders would have led to the deaths of innocent civilians, but they didn't care. The Dominion did not allow second thoughts. Obedience was the only law. The voice of the High Chancellor echoed in the chamber. Zura of House Kale, you were stripped of your title and rank. You are hereby exiled to the planet called Earth. You will not return unless recalled by order. Zura didn't speak. Her fists clenched. Earth, a place of backward people, dirt cities, and no technology worth speaking of. It was the worst punishment a warrior like her could receive. Death would have been kinder. She was dragged away by guards. Her eyes burned with anger and shame. She had saved lives, but no one cared. Her honor was gone. The journey to Earth took days. She sat alone in a small transport pod. Her wrists were locked. The ship passed through wormholes and silence. She stared out the small window at stars she no longer felt part of. When she landed, there was no welcome. The pod dropped in the forest of a planet she had only seen in reports. The guards opened the door, pushed her out, and left without a word. The wind was sharp and cold. Trees swayed in the breeze. She stood alone with only a thin pack of supplies and a simple translator device. She walked for hours, hiding when human machines passed nearby. The world was too green, too soft. It made her feel uneasy. Her people had cities made of crystal and light. Earth had wooden houses and steel cars. It felt like walking backward through time. Eventually, she found an old barn near the edge of a quiet town. It looked abandoned. She checked the area, made sure no one saw her, and slipped inside. The floor creaked under her boots. Dust danced in the sunlight coming through broken windows. She made a small place to sleep in the corner using hay and old blankets. It was not comfortable, but it would do. She didn't plan to stay long. Her goal was to survive, stay hidden, and hope the Dominion forgot about her days past. She only went out at night, searching for food or water. She avoided humans. They looked soft and slow. She didn't think much of them. One night, while searching the nearby fields, she saw a young man fixing a strange metal object. It was a human vehicle, old and rusted. He worked with focus, wiping sweat from his brow. His hands were strong but careful. Zura watched from the trees, unsure why she didn't turn away. He seemed different from the images she saw in training. He wasn't a soldier or leader, just a simple man doing quiet work. The next day, he came to the barn. Zura had left a few signs by mistake. A small trail of broken grass, a moved board, he noticed. "Hello," he called, stepping inside. "Anyone here?" Zura held her breath, hiding in the shadows. He walked slowly, looking round. He saw the spot in the corner, the hay shaped like a bed. He didn't run or call for help. "I don't want trouble," he said calmly. "If you need help, just say something." He left some food on a wooden box and walked out. Zura didn't touch it for hours, but hunger won. She ate it quietly, thinking about the strange human. The next day, he came again, bringing more food and a blanket. Still, he didn't ask questions. She watched him fix machines, talk to neighbors, and smile at a little girl who waved at him. Something about him felt steady, like a rock in a river. Zura didn't understand this world. She didn't understand why this man helped someone he couldn't see. She didn't know why she didn't leave. But every night, she watched him work. And every morning, the food was there. Her exile was supposed to break her. Earth was supposed to be a prison. But something was changing. Slowly, she didn't know it yet. But this was the beginning of something new. Asterisk. The next morning, Zura woke up to the sound of birds. The barn was quiet, but the light from the small window told her it was almost noon. She sat up slowly. Her muscles were still sore from sleeping on the hay, but it was better than cold metal floors. She looked around. Nothing had changed, except for the small basket left by the door. Inside the basket were fresh bread, fruit, and a clean bottle of water. There was also a small bar of soap and a towel. She frowned. Why was this human helping her? She had never asked for it. Zura moved to the window and watched the house in the distance. The young man was there again, fixing a broken machine under the sun. He worked with quiet focus, not looking toward the barn. She didn't know his name, but she was starting to wonder what kind of person he was. Later that evening, she stepped out of the barn for the first time in daylight. She stayed low and moved between trees. The wind was gentle, and the smells of flowers and earth filled her nose. It was different from the cold air of space or the sharp scent of the warships she used to command. She found a small stream and used the soap to clean herself. The cold water stung her skin, but it felt good. She looked at her reflection. Her face was still hard, her eyes sharp, but something was different. The anger was still there, but now there was also confusion. On her way back, she saw the man. Again, he was sitting on a wooden bench with a cup in his hands. He looked tired, but peaceful. For some reason, Zara didn't hide this time. She stepped out from the trees and walked toward him. He saw her and stood slowly. His eyes showed surprise, but not fear. He didn't reach for a weapon. Instead, he gave a small nod. "Hey," he said simply, "you're real." Zara crossed her arms. "Why are you helping me?" He smiled a little. "Because you needed help. That's all." She looked at him closely. He didn't seem to want anything. No questions, no demands, just kindness. It was strange. "I don't need your help," she said. "Okay," he said, "but I'll still bring food. You can take it or not." She didn't answer. After a long pause, she turned and walked back to the barn. The next day, he came again. This time, he brought an old jacket and a small lantern. He placed them near the door and walked away. Zura waited until he was gone, then took them inside. The nights were cold, and the jacket helped. Days passed like this. She watched him from a distance. Sometimes he talked to his younger sister, Lily, a bright girl with a big smile. Sometimes he fixed engines. He always looked calm. One evening, she came to him again. This time, she sat on a tree stump near his bench. He offered her a cup of tea. She didn't drink it, but she didn't leave either. "I'm Ethan," he said. "Zura." They sat in silence for a while. "You're not from here, are you?" he asked. She looked at the stars. "No, thought so." "You don't talk like anyone around here." "I was banished." He nodded, not asking more. "You don't fear me," she said. "Should I? I was a warrior. You still are, I think." She looked at him. There was no mocking in his voice, only quiet truth. After that, things changed. Zura started helping in small ways. She fixed a broken fence. She carried supplies from the storehouse. She even started to learn how human tools worked. Ethan showed her how to use a wrench and how to fix a generator. Lily, the little sister, started leaving drawings near the barn. One showed a woman with silver hair and a sword. Another showed 3 people standing together under a big tree. Zura kept them inside her corner of the barn. Sometimes she woke in the night, remembering the council, the guards, the cold faces of her people. She would sit awake for hours, breathing slow. But then she would remember the sound of Ethan's laugh or Lily's bright eyes, and she would calm down. One night, she asked Ethan why he lived so far from the town. Lost my parents young, grew up fast, got this land from my grandfather, needed space. You are not weak, she said. He smiled. Neither are you. Zura didn't know what was happening to her. She had been trained to be strong, not soft. But here, strength looked different. It looked like kindness, patience, and quiet work. She was still a stranger on this planet, still hiding from the stars. But each day, the barn felt more like shelter and less like a cage. She didn't know what would come next. But for the first time, she wanted to find out. Zura started to wake up before sunrise. The sound of birds and the cool air helped her feel calm. She would step out of the barn and stretch her arms, watching the sky change from dark blue to orange. It was a quiet time, and she liked it. She had begun helping Ethan more. At first, she only did small tasks, passing tools or carrying parts. But Ethan soon saw how fast she learned. He gave her real jobs. She learned to fix engines, repair fences, and even help with farming equipment. Her hands, once used to holding weapons, now worked with wires and bolts. One day, while fixing a tractor, Ethan smiled at her. "You're good at this," he said. "I had to fix things during missions," she replied. "Ships break, tools break. You learn," Ethan laughed. "Well, Earth machines aren't flying ships, but they still need care." Zura didn't laugh, but her eyes softened. She was beginning to understand human humor. Lily often came around while they worked. She would sit nearby, drawing pictures or asking questions. "Do you miss your home?" Lily asked one afternoon. Zura thought for a moment. "Not anymore." "Do you like it here?" "I am learning to like it." Lily smiled. "You're cool. You're like a space hero." Zura shook her head. "I was a soldier. Heroes don't always wear armor." As the days passed, Zura started to feel something new. She felt useful. She had a place. People needed her. Not because of war, not because of fear, but because she helped. But she also felt something else, a strange energy in the air. Sometimes at night, she would look at the stars and feel a cold shiver. Something was coming. One evening, she walked to the edge of the forest and stood still. She closed her eyes and listened. The wind carried a low hum, too soft for human ears, but not for her. A sound she remembered from her old life. A scout ship. She returned to the barn in silence. That night, she cleaned the old weapon hidden in her bag. It was small but strong. She had kept it safe, even when everything else was taken. She hoped she would never use it again. The next day, Ethan noticed her quiet mood. "Something wrong?" he asked. "There's danger coming," she said. He looked surprised. "From where?" "The stars. My people may be looking for something or someone." "You think they found you?" "Maybe, Or maybe they found Earth. Both are bad. Ethan didn't ask more. He simply nodded. What do we do? She looked at him. No fear, just readiness. We prepare. Zura started working with more focus. She repaired old radios and built a signal scanner using parts from broken machines. Ethan helped her, asking questions and learning quickly. Lily watched from the doorway, holding her sketchpad tight. One night, the scanner beeped. A signal appeared. On the screen a strange code, not from Earth. Zura's heart pounded. It was Zithari. They're here, she said. A small ship, a scout. How long do we have? Ethan asked. Maybe a day, maybe less. Zura gathered tools, food, and maps. She showed Ethan where to hide if things went bad. She gave Lily a small device. Press this if you're in danger, she said. Lily nodded, eyes wide, as the sun set. Zura climbed a hill and watched the sky. A small flash of light moved across the stars. It was coming down. She stayed up all night, her weapon by her side. Her hands were steady, but her heart was heavy. She had just begun to feel peace. She didn't want to lose it. In the morning, they heard a loud sound like thunder. Trees shook, birds flew away. A ship had landed. Zura turned to Ethan. Stay here, keep Lily safe. You're going alone. I know how they fight. I'll stop them. He grabbed her arm. Come back. She looked into his eyes. I will try. Zura ran through the forest. Her body moved like it remembered. The trees blurred around her. She reached the crash site. The ship was small and dark, resting in a field. 2 Zithari scouts stepped out. Their armor was sharp, their weapons ready. They didn't see her at first. She moved like a shadow. Then she stepped into view. They paused. One spoke. Commander Zura. Not a commander anymore. You are needed. I am not yours to command. They raised their weapons. She didn't wait. She moved fast, striking with skill and speed. The fight was short. When it ended, both scouts were down. Zura stood over them, breathing hard. She looked at the ship. It still worked. She could use it, or destroy it. She chose the second. She set the ship to self-destruct and ran. The explosion lit the sky. Back at the farm, Ethan and Lily saw the fireball rise. She did it, Lily whispered. An hour later, Zura returned, tired and dirty. Ethan ran to her. You're alive. They won't report back. He looked at the smoke. That was brave. It was necessary. Lily hugged her tight. That night, they sat together near the barn. No one spoke much. The stars above were quiet again. Zura looked up. For the first time, she didn't feel like they were watching her. For the first time, she felt free. The sky was quiet again, but Zura knew peace would not last forever. She had stopped the scouts, but someone in the Zithari command would notice the silence. They would send more, bigger ships, stronger soldiers. But something had changed in her. She no longer felt like a broken soldier hiding from her past. She had made a choice. She had defended this place, these people, and now she would protect them again. If needed, Ethan helped her clean the barn and fix the small damage caused by the ship's shockwave. Lily made a new drawing. This one showed Zura standing between Earth and the stars, holding a shield. You look like a protector, Lily said with a smile. Zura looked at the drawing for a long time. I think I am becoming one. Ethan and Zura worked on making the farm safer. They fixed the fences, set up cameras, and built small warning devices around the area. Zura also started training again. Every morning, she practiced her fighting moves with a wooden staff. She needed to stay ready. Ethan sometimes joined her. He wasn't a fighter, but he was strong and quick. Zura showed him how to block, how to move his feet, and how to stay balanced. "You learn fast," she said. "You're a good teacher," he replied. Zura smiled, just a little. It felt good to teach someone instead of command them. One day, while checking the scanner, they found something strange. It was another signal, but not from the Zithari. This one was older, broken, and weak. It seemed to come from deep space, but it was using an old Zithari code. "What is it?" Ethan asked. Zura studied the signal. "It's a distress call, a very old one, from your people. Maybe, or from someone who used to be one of us." The signal didn't repeat. It was like a ghost floating in space. But it made Zara think. That night, she sat by the fire with Ethan and Lily. The stars were bright above them. Zara looked at the flames. "I wasn't always like this," she said quietly. Ethan looked at her. "Like what?" "Alone, cold. I used to believe in something. I believed we were strong because we followed orders, because we crushed weakness. I was wrong." Lily tilted her head. "You're strong because you care." Zara gave a small nod. "That's something I learned here." The next day, she started writing. She used a small device to record a message in her language. It was not for the Zithari Council. It was for the few who might still believe in change. "This is Zura of House Kale. I was banished for refusing to follow cruel orders. I now live on a planet called Earth. I found something here. Not just peace, but purpose. There is strength in kindness, in protecting the weak. If you hear this and feel the same, find your way. Change is possible." She sent the message into deep space. Maybe no one would hear it, but maybe someone would. One morning, a stranger came to the farm. He drove an old truck and wore a worn-out jacket. His name was Tom, a neighbor from miles away. He had seen the fire in the sky weeks ago and came to check. Ethan explained that it was a satellite crash. Tom believed him, but he kept watching Zura with sharp eyes. "Where you from?" he asked. "Far away," she said. He chuckled. "Don't talk much, do you? Only when needed." Tom stayed for coffee, then left. Zura watched his truck disappear down the road. "He's curious," she said. "Yeah," Ethan agreed. "We should be careful," Zura nodded. Humans were not the only danger. If word spread, others might come. Governments, soldiers, or worse. Still, life on the farm continued. Zara found comfort. In the work, she planted vegetables with Lily. She fixed tools with Ethan. She even learned to cook simple meals, though her food still tasted strange. She no longer felt like a visitor. She felt like she belonged. But one evening, she heard something again. Not a ship this time, a voice. It came from the radio. "This is Captain Riven, former Zithari fleet. If Zura of House Kale hears this, I wish to speak. I have changed. I understand now. I received your message." "I am coming." Zura froze. She knew the name. Riven had once been her ally. A strong leader, but also strict and loyal to the council. If he had changed, it meant her message was reaching someone. Ethan looked at her. "Do you trust him?" "I don't." "No, but I have to meet him." They prepared again. Zura sharpened her blade and cleaned her armor. Ethan checked the scanners. They didn't know when Riven would arrive, or if he truly came in peace. Zura stood outside that night, looking at the stars again. She had come to Earth in chains. Now she stood tall, free, and with a purpose. She wasn't just protecting a farm. She was protecting a way of life, one built on choice, peace, and strength that didn't need fear. And now others were listening. The wind blew softly over the fields as the sun rose. Zura stood near the barn, watching the scanner. A signal blinked on the screen. Captain Riven's ship was close. He would arrive within hours. She felt many things: uncertainty, hope, and a small bit of fear. Riven was once one of the strongest captains in the Zithari fleet. He had followed the Dominion's rules without question. If he truly changed, it would be a miracle. If not, it could be a trap. Ethan stood beside her. "We'll face it together," he said. Zura nodded. She had faced many enemies in the past, but this was different. This was personal. Later that morning, the ship came down in the forest beyond the hills. It was quiet. No weapons, no flashing lights. A single figure walked, out tall, with dark skin and silver armor. He carried no weapon, only a small device in his hand. Zara stepped forward to meet him. She didn't bring her weapon, but her eyes were sharp. "Captain Riven," she said. He bowed his head slightly. "Zara, you still carry the fire in your eyes. Why? Are you here to find what you found?" She didn't move. "Explain." He looked at the trees around them. "I heard your message. I felt something break inside me. For years, I followed orders. I destroyed. I punished. I thought it was strength. But I was wrong. When you refused that order, I called you weak. But now I see... You were the strongest of us." Zura studied his face. There was no lie in his eyes. Still, she had to be sure. "And what now?" "Now, I want to help. I want to protect this place with you. Others are coming. The Dominion will not stop. But maybe... Maybe we can stop them together." Zura slowly nodded. "Then come, meet the ones I protect." Riven followed her back to the farm. Ethan watched from a distance, ready for anything. But when he saw the way Zara walked calm and steady, he relaxed. They sat near the barn. Riven explained more. He had left the fleet. Others like him were hiding in space, waiting for a sign. Zura's message had reached them. "They are tired," he said. "Tired of empty rules and blind war." Zura looked at Ethan. "We will need help." "Earth is not ready for war." Riven nodded. "Then we teach them. And we build something new." The next weeks passed quickly. Riven stayed at the farm, helping with work and learning human ways. Lily was shy at first, but soon she was asking him questions and showing him her drawings. "Were you really a space captain?" she asked. "Yes," he said with a small smile. "Do you know how to fly big ships? Very big ones?" Lily laughed. "Cool." Zara watched them and felt something warm in her chest. This was what she had missed her whole life. Not just duty, but connection. Together, they began preparing for what was to come. Zara trained Ethan and Riven helped build new scanners. They found parts in old junkyards, broken radios, and even toys. Nothing was wasted. One night, the scanner beeped again. Another Zithari ship was nearby, but this one was not friendly. "It's a hunter ship," Zura said, "sent to clean up rebels." "They must have tracked Riven," Ethan said. "Maybe, or maybe they just followed the message." They had little time. The ship would land by morning. "We fight," Riven said. "Yes," Zura agreed, "but we protect the town. No harm must come to these people. They made a plan. Riven would draw the hunters to the woods. Zura would strike from the side. Ethan would help set traps and lead the townspeople to safety before the sun rose. They were ready. The hunter ship landed with a loud roar. 3 warriors stepped out, armed and alert. Riven stepped into view and raised his hands. I am Riven. I am no longer with the Dominion. Then you are a traitor, one warrior said. Riven led them into the forest, away from the town. Zura moved like a ghost through the trees. When the time was right, she struck. The battle was fast and hard. Blades flashed, trees fell. But in the end, Zura and Riven stood tall. The hunters were defeated. Back at the farm, Ethan and Lily waited. When they saw Zura and Riven return, they ran to them. You're okay, Lily shouted, hugging Zura. For now, she said softly, but more will come. That evening, they sat around the fire again, tired but alive. We can't do this alone, Ethan said. No, Riven agreed, but we are not alone anymore. Zura looked at the stars. Somewhere out there. Others were listening. Others were changing. She had come to Earth as a punishment, but now she had something greater than a mission. She had purpose. She had people, and she would fight to protect them all. Asterisk, asterisk. The days after the fight passed quietly. The town stayed safe, and the farm was calm. But Zura knew the peace would not last. She had lived through too many wars to believe silence meant safety. Zura, Ethan, and Riven spent their days working harder. They repaired the scanners and added stronger defense systems. The barn became more than a shelter, it became a base. Lily called it the watchpost. She painted a sign and hung it above the door. Riven spoke often with other Zithari rebels through secret signals. Many were in hiding, but some had started small groups on other planets. Zura's message had given them hope. They want to help, Riven said, but we need a plan. Earth is not ready for war, Zura replied. We must protect it without bringing too much attention. Ethan brought ideas. We teach people, slowly. We train those who want to learn. Not soldiers, but defenders. Zura thought about it. Earth had strong hearts, but little knowledge of what was beyond the stars. She agreed. It was time to prepare others. They started quietly. Ethan told a few trusted friends in nearby towns. Some laughed, others listened. A few stayed and helped. They fixed machines, planted food, and practiced drills. Zura trained them. She showed them how to move, how to think fast, how to stay calm in danger. She used sticks and stones, turning simple tools into weapons. She taught with patience. Strength is not only in the body, she told them. It is in the will. At night, she spoke to Riven about the old days. They remembered old battles and lost friends. But now, they spoke of the future. We are building something better, Riven said. This time, we fight for peace. One evening, the sky lit up again. Another ship entered Earth's orbit, but this one didn't land. It sent a message instead. To the traitors, Zura and Riven. Surrender. The Dominion will show no mercy. It played on repeat. People in nearby towns heard it. Fear began to spread. Zura turned off the speaker. Her jaw was tight. They are trying to scare us, Ethan said. Yes, she replied, and it might work. People began leaving. Some were afraid to stay near the farm. Only a few remained, those who trusted Zura, Ethan, and Riven. Lily looked up at Zura. Are we going to run? Zura knelt beside her. No. We stand. We protect this place. That night, They made a stronger plan. If the Dominion sent more ships, they would fight smarter. They hid supplies in the forest. They dug escape tunnels under the barn. They made traps using simple tools. Riven called for help from allies. A few small ships answered. They could not win a big war, but they could help defend the sky. Gave orders, but kindly. She was not the same commander from before. She asked for ideas. She listened. Ethan stayed close to her. He helped build shelters and cook food. He didn't speak like a leader, but people followed him. "Why do they listen to you?" Zura asked. "Because I believe in them," Ethan said. Zura looked at him. That simple answer held great power. The next day, one of the rebel ships sent a warning. A large Dominion vessel was heading to Earth. It would arrive in 2 days. "This one won't talk," Riven said. "They will strike fast." Zura called a meeting. Everyone who stayed came together in the barn. "This is your home," she said. "I will not force you to fight, but I will fight for you, for Earth, for peace." One by one, the people stood up. They were ready. The next day was full of work. People took their positions. The Sky Patrol ships hovered above, watching. Riven checked his gear. Ethan sharpened tools. Lily stayed inside the safe room, holding her drawings. When the ship arrived, it looked like a giant shadow. It moved slowly, then fired a warning shot. Near the forest, trees burned. The earth shook. Zura stood at the front, armor on, eyes fixed. "Now," she whispered. The rebels attacked from above. Earth's defenders attacked from the ground. The traps worked. The Dominion soldiers were surprised by the smart planning. Zura fought like a storm. She moved fast, silent, and strong. She defended the people behind her, never letting fear show. Ethan fought beside her. He used what she taught him. Riven led the air team, sending sharp strikes at the enemy ship. The battle was long. Smoke filled the air. But slowly, the Dominion force broke. Their ship pulled back. The rest ran into the woods. Zura stood among the ruins, breathing hard. Her armor was cracked, her arms bruised. But she was standing. The town was safe. People cheered. Not loudly, but with deep joy. They had survived. Later, as the sun set, Zura walked to the hill with Ethan. "You gave them hope," he said. "We gave it together," she replied. "Do you still miss your old life?" She looked at the sky. "No, this is my life now, and I will protect it." Ethan smiled. "Good, because we still need you." She didn't say anything, but she smiled too. The stars above them were quiet again, but now she knew she wasn't alone. She had purpose, she had people, and she was ready for whatever came next.